Let me ask you a question. What if you didn't have to buy Zavirax, Famvir, Voltrex, or any other cyclovir medication again? Sounds impossible? I thought so too, before I discovered a big lie Big Pharma kept hidden from people like you and me for decades. Imagine, no more feelings of guilt and regret about your infection. No more obsessing of what you have or haven't done to protect yourself and others. No more paranoia about infecting someone you love or about other people finding out. You can leave the nights of nausea, headaches and pain behind. The days with horrible fatigue will be over because there's a way to wipe out the root cause of herpes without side effects, and it's backed by several scientific studies. After just one treatment, it can end your nightmare forever, so keep watching. Now, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Melanie Addington, and here's a picture of me and my ex. Why am I showing you this? Because a few days after this picture was taken, I got diagnosed with type 2 herpes, and he broke up with me. He said it wasn't his fault, and that he didn't want me to ruin his life. How could this happen to me? I asked myself. I hadn't been sleeping around. In fact, John had been just the second man I'd been intimate with. Out of the blue, some sores had appeared on my butt. I wouldn't have taken them seriously, but their constant chafing against my underwear drove me insane. Even when my doctor took skin and blood samples, I was more annoyed than worried. I felt he was cracking a nut with a sledgehammer. Imagine my shock when I was asked back for the results. Herpes. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. All I could think was, it can't be me he's talking about. Herpes sounded like a life sentence in solitary confinement. The only way to escape herpes prison was to die. All we can do is control your outbreaks, my doc said. He put me on a cyclovir, and the sores on my butt disappeared. But it wasn't the only thing a cyclovir made me lose. I started losing hair. And a ton of it. I panicked and asked my doctor. He confirmed a cyclovir can cause heavy hair loss, among other side effects. I switched to Voltrex. It made my stomach violently rebel. I couldn't focus on work and colleagues cut me out of projects. I had to stop with the Voltrex or my boss would have fired me. The sores came back and I was crushed. The drugs that were meant to heal had ruined my life. After months of suffering, I gave in to the pleas of my mother and let my father in on my secret. You see, my father is one of Britain's medical mavericks. You've probably never heard of him because he shuns the limelight. He prefers to help as many people as possible by working in the trenches. Doctors from all over the country send him their hopeless cases. It had occurred to me to ask him for help, but I was embarrassed. Now he was my only hope. Like me, my father had been disappointed by Big Pharma. All the time they tried to get him to peddle their drugs to his patients. They do this everywhere. In the US, for example, they spend $61,000 on each doctor to get him to push their drugs. But my father rebelled. For him, only results count. And all too often, chemical warfare on your body isn't the best option. That's why he started to research natural treatments. Some of them so old, they've been used since Roman times. There is an even more important reason why my father avoids mainstream herpes meds. They don't cure you, they only hide the sign of your illness. But those herpes sores have a function. They're a warning sign from your body telling you there's a problem, much like the engine light in your car. Would you just cover that up so you can't see it anymore? Of course not. And here's a fact you probably didn't know. It's not much different with herpes. If you just cover it up with suppressive drugs, it still undermines your health. It can even kill you by swinging the doors wide open for an army of other diseases. For example, an outbreak in a while. Keep in mind, you're protected by a full 60 days get all your money back guarantee, so you can't lose. 8. Is my credit card safe? Yes, it is. Your credit card will be charged using 128-bit encryption, which means no one can read your data. In fact, it's much safer than when you hand your card to a clerk because there is no one physically handling your card. Those are the most common questions. If you're still wondering, the only way to find out is to click the Get Instant Access button below. You're covered by an unconditional guarantee.